pick just a handful of years ago.
And we're ready to face off. Unlike our two games yesterday, we have two face-off specialists in this game. Nick Rowlett for Chaos and Luke Wierman for the Outlaws. And Rowlett, second-year man out of Michigan, wins the face-off, and we're underway.
And with two face-off specialists, I'm really curious to see how these teams attack the 32. You've got to be ultra efficient in your sub-game.
Watching him play in college, I think he's tailor-made for this league because his ability to shoot. He loves the takeaway checks. He is must-see.
Luke Wierman winning the draw. Another rookie playing in this game.
Pass. I mean, that was basically at the speed of a shot.
Byrne along with Kyle Jackson, the Canadians that have been kept on here by Chaos on this new look roster. Throw in Ty Kurtz as well, Canadian who played at Delaware in college. Today, making his debut.
And Q, you know how big of a moment this is for Brennan.
It's about dreams. You know, when you're a middle schooler playing on Long Island and there's this thing called the PLL, you got a goal. And he is watched closely from afar. He's always been known as maybe the best player of his class, if not of his generation. And so today, his dream becomes reality. And now he passes that on to kids who are watching at home across the country to someday be like Brennan O'Neill.
Good ball moving from Chaos. Over to Minikas on the far side. The help comes, and he tried to get it to Kurtz. Open the floodgates.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be floodgates. Thank you.
Open the trickle gates.
I like the pass, though, in the cut by Zawada. It's a good pattern on the power play.
Good battle at the face-off, Dot.
Well, there's a lot of history between these two.
Yes, in the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, Wierman and Rowlett. Maryland, Wierman, Rowlett, Michigan. They've gone head-to-head a bunch in the past.
Denver trying to get two in a row, and they do! And it's O'Neill. No, check that Terefenko. And I shouldn't act surprised because Terefenko can score.
This is the key for Outlaws. Get out and run. Clean saves, turnovers. Pacino, this is the dynamic that he brings to them that they've really lacked, is the transition game. He pushes in transition, draws a double team, and makes an easy pass inside. Credit Terefenko for the handle and finish. But this is why you drafted the guy. Instead of getting a guy on the offensive side, let's get somebody that can cause some havoc, get up and down, and work in transition.
Well, that's where he's at his best, playing in the gray. And when you play for Scott Marr, you have the green light to do that. When you watch Pacino on tape throughout his college career, everyone talks about his shooting. His passing is big time for a pull.
Wierman lets one fly as the horn sounds to end the first quarter.
In the league. Hey, we know about Andy Towers with the nicknames.
Right, yes.
I'm going to get you here. Guess what McKay's nickname is?
I don't know. What is it?
I heard him the other day call him Mickey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That pass was intentional by Blaze. He threw it maybe a hair too far, and I thought McKay was going to get sent into orbit by the Outlaw defender.
He did pick up an assist on that, Blaze did, so get the assist counter moving. It won't be his last this year, that's for sure.
It's critical.
Game of runs so far today, brief runs, 2 goal runs for each team.
You got Troy Ray here if you want him.
They found him. Ray steps in. Now he gets a better angle. Kurtz loses his footing. Hanningberg trying to track it down and does from X, but it gets knocked out of his stick and it'll be a turnover. Terrific.
Breakdown defensively for Chaos, and Ferrara makes him pay.
And what's surprising there, too, is how much they were showing on Ferrara there. I thought that Rowlett would probably stay more closer to the pipes and allow that one-on-one defense and the confidence for the matchup there. I just thought it was a high-level cut and finish.
Wierman outside of the net.
Boyle thought that was a goal.
No, I didn't.
He was
No,
on
I
it.
didn't. I was. No, I didn't.
He was on it. Just had one false move yesterday where.
Well, he's never going to live it down. Now.
Right.
And plays just come out.
That's a hell of a shot from his offhand.
Hammers it.
Wierman, he could shoot, and he does, but Count is on it.
But that's a good sign if you're an Outlaws fan in terms of generating instant offense off the faceoff from Wierman. He's not able to bury it, but you'd like to see more of that.
And you will. Luke Wierman, when you watch his tape at Maryland in college, he's a tremendous lacrosse player. Scored a ton of goals throughout the course of his career, but also started offense as a passer. So I think you're seeing more and more of these college-level face-off specialists. When they get to the stripe at the PLL, you're seeing a well-refined lacrosse player.
Timeout on the field.
Towers really challenged him in camp, too.
Yeah.
A player can grow because of a change of scenery. Like when you transplant a plant, you know how it wilts? Well, if you give it fertilizer and you give it water, it can grow. And I think Coach Towers has been giving Perkovic a lot of positive feedback.
Says the gardener.
That's exactly
I know.
right.
It's
Pumping him up with
not all of us have the botany skills.
All good karma kids. Exactly.
Two-handed.
Towers talking to him before the draft, you know, with all the O'Neal and Sisselberger and Kavanaugh talk, he had him circled.
that was his guy.
That was my guy. That's the guy he wanted, and he got him, and it's paying off.
I actually asked Andy Towers at camp, I said, if you look at this class and where Knobloch fits in your offense, where would you draft him?
Look at the shooting. We talked about it in the open, RB. Denver was the worst shooting team last year in the league, 4 for 25 in that first half. That's not going to get it done. So the big question that needs to be answered, and only time will tell, who for Denver will step up? Will it be Anderson? Well, there's one answer right there, because right off the face-off to start this second half, it's Justin Anderson who closes the gap.
6-on-6 is going to be an uphill battle. So if you're Denver, can you get juice off the face-off, and can you get juice in transition? A scrap between Rowlett and Wierman, and Anderson just flies in, picks up the loose ball, and before Chaos can get organized defensively, Anderson brings a ton of speed, two-way midfielder, gets shot out of a cannon. He's the actual veteran of this bunch.
Yeah, he had 4 goals in week 1 here in Albany in 2023. University of North Carolina played in championship weekend for Joe Bresci and the Heels a few years back, but he is a player that could beat you on 6-on-6 half-field sets, but also on the wing. And I think having Luke Wierman here will give them those opportunities to generate some offense off the face-off.
Offsides, though.
They're going to call an illegal procedure, apparently leaving the arc before possession had been retained. But back to the face-off, Wierman flanked by Pacino and Anderson. I like that group.
What's not to like about it?
And I would just keep them on.
Hanley, I mean, he was in the argument to be the first pick in the draft a season ago. I mean, he's 6'5", he's two-handed. He has vision, too. When he was at UPenn, he quarterbacked that offense from the midfield. So we're seeing the goal-scoring ability, but he's also a passer off the dodge.
And visually, it looks like he's shown up in year 2 ready to go. He looks like he's in elite condition. Sometimes that's an issue.
Go.
Zawada scores! Well, whatever Coach Sudan drew up at the half, it's working, because Denver scored the first 3 in the first 2 minutes of the second half.
It looks like he's guessing low on this shot count. Ryan, watch his body language as Zawada releases the ball.
Yeah, you're going to see beautiful ball movement here off a dodge by Handley. You know, as Handley goes to the cage, he draws a double team. The rotation is just late. And Zawada steps into it.
He's guessing low here, and he got caught.
You see the shooting woes we talked about at the half. Denver coming out on fire here.
Yeah, this is an offense was dead last in goals per game at 7.9 a season ago. They've essentially caught that already.
Wierman off the face-off. Probably should have shot that. Instead, tried to get it off to Zawada.
Last in assists, last in shots, last in shooting percentage, last in 2 points. I mean,
And vacated.
But you'd like to see more inverts with him and Ross Scott.
well, I think the spacing is critical too. I thought that was the first time they really cleared out and gave the offense the right room for their speed dodgers.
O'Neal out of the box. Scores!
That was slick, Kark.
Yes, it was. Get used to it. And this is what we've always wanted to see, Quint, right out of college. Maybe him coming through the box when he's so big, he's so fast, he's so strong, he's so skilled. It's like a runaway train that's coming at you, and he uses the turf there with the extended stick. How do you track that?
You can't. It's just got a ton of English on it. And what I loved about that was Messenger got the pull on him and actually kind of did a little bit of window washing, window dressing, like I'm gonna go to keep that matchup so they could hit O'Neal with a full head of steam on a short stick.
You know what that shows me too is sometimes when he's not the first guy subbing, right? You can get him later in the rotation of subbing using his speed flying out of the box.
We're gonna get a
That's what he did for Team USA in San Diego last summer. We rarely saw it down in Koskinen this spring.
We're gonna get a push with possession here.
Speed, and he, at the very least, there's going to be a show from the defense, right? And he was really smart to kick that ball back.
Another 3-0 run. First lead of the day for Denver. Chaos have been completely out of sync offensively here in this second half.
The game, you got him, you got Hanley, two guys from West Lynn in the league in terms of Ross Scott and Dylan Squires.
In the next game,
Colin Squires, excuse me.
Next game, you have Ajax Zapatello, who's from Portland, number 3 pick in the draft for the Maryland Whips.
Chaos looking to build a little momentum now. Final seconds of this third quarter.
10 seconds.
Scott again. Hannenberg. Ribs.
He's an animal.
We start the fourth quarter here, and we've got a good one. It hasn't always been pretty, but at 10-9 with the Outlaws on top, we're poised to have a fourth quarter that will go right down to the wire.
Yeah, we're
Staple of what Chaos have done offensively. I understand there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of new bodies. Let's use our speed, but that action right there between Jackson, McKay, and Byrne, don't lose part of your identity. That worked.
Anderson shoots. Count makes the save.
And what I loved about that move is Messenger's a big body, and he gave him plenty of space in terms of.
You see the trends in this game. Carolina back on top after Denver had taken their first lead of the day. Wierman.
You see how smooth he is with his exits? Luke Wierman is an exceptional face-off guy.
Dark, and it's interesting to watch how dialed he is into the new cadence. You know, that set down real fast.
You know what helped his brand? You know, we talk about athletes and branding at the pro ranks, right? The stick, the silhouette of the stick in his rib cage when he was hacked last year, that helps the brand.
No question.
The real-time tattoo.
That hits the pipe. The bouncer right off the face-off.
He was 100% aware of his inability to score goals as a pro. Pre-game, he told me as he was shooting two. Why was that Jordan Wolf, the reincarnation?
What separated Jordan Wolf from the attackman of his generation is he was willing to get to the front of the net and get his head knocked off for one step of better angle. And you saw it right there with Ross Scott. We've been talking about it all week.
What's his nickname?
Ross Scott.
What's wrong with Roscoe?
It's the 2 first names, so you got to say the full name.
After only suiting up 6 times last year, this was his last opportunity, I feel, to play in this league, and he is capturing the moment.
Got served a slice of humble pie. got challenged in training camp by Andy Towers, and he has responded today.
Coach Sudan wants to talk things over as this game's gotten away from him here in the final 2 minutes. Carolina.
A two-pointer. O'Neal liked some of the action you saw there. Can you play Wisnauskas and O'Neal together? Can you play them on the same attack line?
I liked O'Neal from midfield coming out of the box last with a head of steam.
So you know what you got at Wisnauskas? It's figuring out the other two pieces of that attack puzzle, because you didn't get much out of Myers, Zawada, and Ferrara today, those three righties.
And the big question I thought from last year was, after Brendan Nickturn had a fantastic rookie year, his void a season ago was glaring in terms of their X behind presence, and it still looks like they have questions there.